Our final properties that we are going to talk about, I have the commutative property. Commutative property tells me that if I'm adding or multiplying, it does not matter the order in which I write it. Okay, so if I look at my examples, doing 4 plus 8 gives me 12, or 8 plus 4 still gets me 12. So if you want to think about that as a situation, consider that it takes 4 miles to walk to school, and then from school, it takes 8 miles to walk to the store. So if you're walking to school first and then to the store, you're walking a total of 12 miles. But if you do it in reverse, if you go to the store first and then to school, you're still walking that same distance. You're just changing the order in which you're walking. In option A, you're going to school and then the store, whereas in option B, you're going from the store and then to school. But you're still walking a total different distance of 4 miles to 8 miles. And that same property applies to multiplication. So 7 times 11 is the same as 11 times 7. So your commutative property tells you that it does not matter in which the order that you add or multiply. And again, to help you remember, commuting, think about moving or walking or going somewhere if you're on the commute. And that's the idea of that I can walk 2 different paths, but it doesn't matter the order in which I walk the paths, I'm still walking the same distance. And then I have the associative property. The associative property tells us that the way I group 3 or more numbers does not change the sum or the product. Okay, so if I look down here at my numbers, I can have my 3 numbers that I'm adding, 3, 5, and 7. It doesn't matter which 2 numbers I add first. I can add 3 and 5 to get 8, and then 7 to get 15, or I can add 5 plus 7 to get 12, and then add the 3, and I get 15. So sometimes you may want to think about the associative property if you have something and you're trying to group numbers to make it a little bit easier. If you think back to some examples that we did in Unit 1, and whenever we had to add up all of those numbers to find the average, and I was explaining to you guys to think about easy ways around this. For example, if I have 14 plus 19 plus 1, okay, so if I'm adding that, if you're thinking at first, well, 14 plus 19 is kind of taking me a while to add that in my head, you can do 19 plus 1 first to get 20, and then add that 14 to it to get 34. So it's a way to just shortcut things to make the mental math that we do a lot easier. Your same rule applies for multiplication. Doesn't matter which 2 numbers you multiply first. 2 times 6 times 9, I can do 2 times 6 first, or I can do 6 times 9 first. And again, you can think about that in terms of something to make it easier. So 4 times 5 times 25, or I can do same thing, but talk about the grouping of our numbers. So right now, 4 times 5 is 20, and then I got to multiply by 25, so maybe that's kind of hard for me to do. Or I can recognize that I can do 4 times 25 to get 100, and then multiply by 5 to get 500. So again, just noticing that we can use it to shortcut and make these mental math problems easier. Associative property tells you that it does not matter which 2 numbers you group together first to add or to multiply, you're still going to get the same answer in the end.